Hola and welcome to ProSpanish. Whether you're a beginner or you've been learning for some time now, you're going to see just how quickly and easily you can learn the essential building blocks needed to become fluent in Spanish. We'll start by learning the new language step by step, followed by some fluency practice using our unique listening pyramids, and we'll finish off with a quick test so you can see how you've done. And all of these materials for today's lesson are freely available on prospanish.co.uk. Our more advanced subscribers may wish to skip forward to the time frame on the screen or stick with us for the extra practice. So let's get started. And as always, there's very little point in learning a structure in isolation. We want it together with context so that we're able to use it readily in conversation. So we're just going to start off with some verbs which are going to help us. To go to the shop, nice and easy. Ir a la tienda. Ir is to go, ir, ir. Ir a la tienda, to go to the shop. To speak with him, or in the UK we might say to speak to him, but the structure in Spanish is speak with him. And to speak is hablar, so think of blah blah blah, hablar. Hablar con él, to speak with him. Hablar con él. And next we have, just quickly, a reminder that you don't need to try to memorize all this now. Just go with the flow of the lesson. So next we have ayudar is to help. Ayudar, think of it being like to aid. Ayudar, to help. Ayudar con la cena. Ayudar con la cena, or in Latin America, cena, dinner. So ayudar con la cena, to help with dinner. Volver literally means to return, like in revolve. Volver, to return. But in this context, we'll use it as come back. So volver, to come back. And then finally, a very useful one, to get an appointment. So an appointment is una cita, or in Latin America, una cita. So the C in Spanish, when it's followed by an I or an E, it's a soft sound, not like a k. And in Spain, that's a th, a th sound. And in Latin America, it's a s sound, like an s. So una cita in Spain, una cita in Latin America. And conseguir una cita is to get an appointment, like obtain an appointment. Okay, and we'll have a few little time phrases. Más tarde is later. So late is tarde. Más tarde, more late or later. Más tarde. Mañana, tomorrow. For some reason, always memorable. Mañana, tomorrow. A tiempo is in time. If you do something in time, a tiempo. And finally, al final. So like in the final, we'd say in the end. So in the end, al final. Okay, let's just work with those a second. So how would we say to come back tomorrow? What would that be, to come back tomorrow? Volver mañana. Volver mañana. And if you're new to ProSpanish, make sure that you pause the video to give yourself some thinking time so that you can answer the question before it comes up on the screen. That's an essential part of the process. Okay, so volver mañana, to come back tomorrow. how would you say to go to the shop later? Ir a la tienda más tarde. Ir a la tienda más tarde. Okay, so let's get to the main part here, which is to be able to. So if we want to say I'm able to do something, it's puedo, puedo. Now, more commonly, for I am able to do something, we would just say I can do something, I can do it. But we'll use the I am able to do something translation is to avoid a confusion later on, which we'll see in due course. So, puedo, I can, or I am able to do something. And then we're going to have the question. Puedes, puedes, are you able? So it's just ending in es instead of o to make it, are you able to do this? Puedes hablar? Are you able to speak? And again, more commonly, we would say, can you? Instead of are you able to. I was able to do something is pude. Pude. I was able to. Pude conseguir una cita. I was able to get an appointment, for example. And I was able to do something could also be I could do something, although not always, so we're going to stick with I was able to because it covers more language. And the question, were you able to do it? Pudiste. So pude, I was able to do it. You were able to, or were you in the question, were you able to? Pudiste. Pudiste. And again, don't worry about trying to retain all of this now. Okay, so pudiste, were you able to? Podría, podría is what we would call the conditional. So I would be able to do something. Podría. And then nice and easy, would you be able to? Podrías. So just add an S on at the end there. Podrías. Would you be able to do something? And the confusion could arise because would you be able to do something can also be said with the word could. Could you do this for me? Would you be able to do it for me? But then also, going back to pudiste, were you able to? We could also use could for that. Were you able to get an appointment? Could you get an appointment in the end? Could you? Were you able to? So we'll stick with able to as our main translation here. Okay, so first of all, just have a listen, look across the table, and see if you can work out what's being said. Pude hablar con él al final. Pude hablar con él al final. And that meant I was able to speak with him in the end. So pude hablar con él al final. How about ¿podrías volver más tarde? ¿Podrías volver más tarde? Would you be able to come back later? How about ¿pudiste conseguir una cita al final? ¿Pudiste conseguir una cita al final? Were you able to get an appointment in the end? puedo ayudar con la cena mañana. Puedo ayudar con la cena mañana. And we could say I am able, but I can works much better here. I can help with dinner tomorrow. ¿Puedes ir a la tienda más tarde? ¿Puedes ir a la tienda más tarde? So, can you go to the shop later? Are you able to go to the shop later? How about this one? No pude conseguir una cita. No pude conseguir una cita. Latin American version. I wasn't able to get an appointment. So you can see we just add no to make any of these negative. No puedo, I'm not able to. No pude, I wasn't able to. No podría, I wouldn't be able to. And we can use it in the questions as well. No puedes hablar con él. No puedes hablar con él. Aren't you able to speak to him? Can't you speak to him? No pudiste volver. Weren't you able to come back? So what does this one mean? ¿No podrías ayudar con la cena mañana? ¿No podrías ayudar con la cena mañana? Wouldn't you be able to help with the dinner tomorrow? How about ¿no pudiste conseguir una cita al final? ¿No pudiste conseguir una cita al final? Weren't you able to get an appointment in the end? Okay, now before we go on to the expressive part where you're going to be creating these, we're going to use our ProSpanish listening pyramids, and you're going to see just how useful these can be. Okay, so there are 5 of these, and they are freely available on the ProSpanish website. And another reminder that the all-in-one special offer for a limited period only includes 600 of these listening pyramids, matching all the lessons on the in the course. Okay, so the recommended method is we're just going to play the bass line.
No pude conseguir una cita al final.
No pude conseguir una cita al final.
And you can hear different voices.
No pude conseguir una cita al final.
And at this point, the aim isn't to fully understand it, it's just to see if we can catch the odd word. And if you find this particularly easy straight away, then just try one of the other pyramids there for more of a challenge. Okay, so once you've done that, you've played that a few times, don't look at the text yet. We're going to go up to the top.
No pude. No pude.
No pude.
Okay, so we think, okay, that's no pude. Let's check. Yeah, no pude. And if we want to, we might not need to. We might be very, very clear that that means I wasn't able, but we can toggle on it again. It will come up with I wasn't able. And then we go to, let's toggle that off and go to the next bit. So it's going to be building up.
No pude conseguir.
No pude conseguir.
No pude conseguir.
Okay, so I played it 3 times there. No pude conseguir. So you may or you may not have got that. We have a look. No pude conseguir. And if you want to hear it again while reading.
No pude conseguir.
No pude conseguir.
And then we can toggle on the English if we need it. I wasn't able to get. Okay, so it's building up. What's the next bit that's going to be added?
No pude conseguir una cita.
No pude conseguir una cita. No pude conseguir una cita.
Okay, so no pude conseguir una cita or una cita. We had both versions there. There's the Spanish, and to check the English, you don't have to do this. You might be really certain that you know it's I wasn't able to get an appointment. And then let's go to the final baseline.
No pude conseguir una cita al final. No pude conseguir una cita al final.
No pude conseguir una cita al final.
Okay, and at this point, you're going to be much more confident knowing what this baseline says.
No pude conseguir una cita al final.
So, no pude conseguir una cita al final. Let's have a look and let's play it.
No pude conseguir una cita al final.
No pude conseguir una cita al final.
And we can look at the English. I wasn't able to get an appointment in the end. And toggle it off and listen again.
No pude conseguir una cita al final.
And it should be a lot clearer. You might need to go up to the top and go down again to feel that you've got the real fluency of it. But you will have improved quite a lot just with that one process. Okay, so that gives you a flavour of the listening pyramids. And of course, you can go back to that at your leisure. We'll just take a quick pause there while I mention our very popular Levels 1 to 6 course. This takes the complete beginner or near beginner right up to a conversational level of Spanish in a series of very easy to follow steps. So any of my videos that can be found on YouTube are supplementary or standalone videos, whereas the main Levels 1 to 6 course is not available anywhere else. It's not available on YouTube. And this is very much a step-by-step program, all still delivered by the same teacher, by myself. And while the style is very similar to what you've been used to from the videos on this channel, the key difference is that every lesson builds carefully on the previous lessons so that you can feel the progress of going from very little or no Spanish up to a level where you can confidently hold a conversation in Spanish. It's available exclusively from ProSpanish.co.uk. And back to our lesson. So let's have a look at the table again. And now try to make your own sentences in Spanish. So I'll give you the English, look at the table for help, or look away if you're feeling more confident. So how would you say, I was able to speak to him later? What would that be? Pude hablar con él más tarde. Pude hablar con él más tarde. How would you say, or how would you ask? Would you be able to come back tomorrow? ¿Podrías volver más tarde? ¿Podrías volver más tarde? And how would you ask? Were you able to go to the shop in the end? ¿Pudiste ir a la tienda al final? ¿Pudiste ir a la tienda al final? How about, let's go for a negative one. How would you say, I'm not able to help with dinner tomorrow. And we could also say, I can't help with dinner tomorrow. No puedo ayudar con la cena mañana. No puedo ayudar con la cena mañana. And how would you say, I wasn't able to get an appointment, and let's say for tomorrow. So for tomorrow would be para. You might already know for me is para mí. So for tomorrow, para mañana. So how would you say, I wasn't able to get an appointment for tomorrow? What would that be? No pude conseguir una cita para mañana. No pude conseguir una, and we'll do the Latin American pronunciation, una cita para mañana. And how about, would you be able to get an appointment for tomorrow? What would that be? ¿Podrías conseguir una cita para mañana? ¿Podrías conseguir una cita para mañana? Okay, so let's have a look now at our kind of final test. Again, available on the ProSpanish website. You might want to do a little bit more practice before that. And all the levels 1 to 6 lessons have an end of test and an end of level or end of unit test as well. And you'll be able to see now that it's quite a useful way of rounding off a lesson. Okay, nice and easy. You just write the answer in. So, are you able? Can you remember? Pues correct automatically, or marks correctly automatically. And to speak with him, so to speak was hablar con él. Would you be able? Now, I might be thinking, oh, what was this? Was that podías? Was it? You might just keep trying and you don't know, so we just fill it in automatically with the question mark. Ah, yes, podrías. Then we go to in time. Tiempo. In the end. Al final. I won't go through the whole test, but you can see it's a really useful way of checking your learning. You can do this now on the site for this very lesson. And so just before we go on to the more advanced part of this lesson, another reminder that the full levels 1 to 6 course is available exclusively from prospanish.co.uk. Okay, we have some different verbs here. So, disfrutar de la comida, to enjoy the meal. Disfrutar de la comida. To attend the meeting. Asistir a la reunión. Volver con nosotros, to return or to come back with us. This one we've just had in the previous lesson. Conseguir una cita, to get an appointment. And if we want to say goodbye, and this is referring to you saying goodbye, but it's in the infinitive form. Despedirte, to say goodbye. And hacer el viaje, to make the trip. It could also be to go on the trip. Hacer el viaje. And our starting point is I'm sorry that. Siento que. So siento que, I'm sorry that, I feel that. And the we, sentimos que. We're sorry that. Okay, and we're going to be saying, I'm sorry that you aren't able to do something. Or it could be you can't, but we'll stick with the able to. And it's also going to be that we're sorry, or I'm sorry that you weren't able to. Now we know that you aren't able to, or you can't, is no puedes, no puedes. But after siento que, or sentimos que, after sorry that, it's the subjunctive, so it will be no puedas, no puedas. And the past, the imperfect subjunctive, because when we want to say you weren't able to, we need the imperfect subjunctive because we're talking about the past, and it's no pudieras, no pudieras. Okay, so have a listen and see if you can work out what's being said. Siento que no puedas volver con nosotros. Siento que no puedas volver con nosotras. I'm sorry that you aren't able to come back with us, to return with us, or that you can't return with us. How about sentimos que no pudieras disfrutar de la comida? Sentimos que no pudieras disfrutar de la comida. We're sorry that you weren't able to enjoy the meal. How about siento que no pudieras despedirte. Siento que no pudieras despedirte. I'm sorry that you weren't able to say goodbye. Okay, how would you say, we are sorry that you weren't able to attend the meeting. Sentimos que no pudieras asistir a la reunión. Sentimos que no pudieras asistir a la reunión. How would you say, I'm sorry that you aren't able to get an appointment. Siento que no puedas conseguir una cita. Siento que no puedas conseguir una cita. How about, we're sorry you weren't able to enjoy the meal. Sentimos que no pudieras disfrutar de la comida. Sentimos que no pudieras disfrutar de la comida. How about, I'm sorry that you're not able to say goodbye. Siento que no puedas despedirte. Siento que no puedas despedirte. And if you want to say goodbye to him, it's de él. De él. So how would you say, we're sorry you weren't able to say goodbye to him. Sentimos que no pudieras despedirte de él. Sentimos que no pudieras despedirte de él. How about, I'm sorry that you weren't able to say goodbye to her. Siento que no pudieras despedirte de ella. Siento que no pudieras despedirte de ella. And that concludes today's ProSpanish lesson. As mentioned earlier, if you're looking to become a confident and a competent speaker of Spanish, head over to prospanish.co.uk.